7 signs of a weak car battery before it leaves you stranded. Your car starts today. Maybe a little slower than usual, but it still starts, so most people ignore it. The next day, it struggles just a little more. Still not enough to make you panic. Still not enough to feel like a real problem. And that is exactly why weak batteries catch so many drivers off guard, because they usually do not fail all at once. They fade, slowly, quietly, giving you small warning signs that are easy to ignore until the day the car refuses to start. And when that happens, it is almost never at a convenient time. It happens when you are late, when you need to leave, when you are far from home. In this video, I'll show you 7 common signs of a weak car battery before it completely fails, so you can recognize the problem early, deal with it sooner, and avoid getting stranded later. Let's get into it. Sign number 1. Slow engine crank. This is usually the first warning sign. You turn the key or press the start button and the engine does crank, but it sounds slower than normal, heavier, weaker, less confident. Instead of spinning quickly and firing up, it sounds like it is struggling to get going. That happens because the battery is losing its ability to deliver strong current to the starter. At first, this may only happen on cold mornings or after the car has been sitting for a while, but then it starts happening more often, and eventually almost every start feels slower than it should. This is one of the clearest early signs that the battery is getting weak because the car is still starting, but it is no longer starting strong. Sign number 2. Clicking sound when starting. This is another classic warning. You turn the key, and instead of hearing the engine crank, you hear a rapid clicking sound, or sometimes just one click with no actual engine movement. That usually means the battery still has enough power to activate the relay, but not enough power to crank the engine itself. In other words, the battery is alive, but too weak to do the hardest part. This is why clicking often shows up just before a full no-start condition, and once this begins happening regularly, you should take it seriously, because the next step is often a car that won't start at all. Sign number 3. Dim headlights or unstable lights. A weak battery does not just affect starting, it can also affect the way your lights behave. You may notice that the headlights look dimmer than usual, or that interior lights seem weaker, or that brightness changes unexpectedly. Sometimes the lights look okay until you try to start the car. Then they suddenly dim hard, almost like the battery is draining instantly. That matters, because a healthy battery should be able to support those loads without such a dramatic drop. This is one of the signs that many people notice but don't connect to the battery right away. They think the headlights are old or the bulbs are weak, but sometimes the real issue is the battery itself. Sign number 4. Electrical accessories acting strange. Modern cars depend on stable voltage, and when the battery gets weak, small electrical problems often begin to show up. You may notice power windows moving slower than normal, the radio resetting, the infotainment screen acting strangely, dashboard lights flickering, or random warning lights appearing for a moment, then disappearing again. These problems may seem unrelated, but often they all point back to unstable battery voltage. That is why a weak battery can create a weird mix of small electrical symptoms. Not because everything is broken, but because everything is no longer getting stable power. Sign number 5. The car needs jump starts more than once. One jump start once in a long while does not always mean the battery is bad. Maybe the lights were left on. Maybe the car sat too long. But if the vehicle needs a jump start again, and then again, that is no longer random. That is a pattern. A healthy battery should be able to hold a charge and restart the car reliably. If it cannot, then something is wrong. At that point, you are not solving the problem anymore. You are just delaying the failure. This is why frequent jump starts should never become normal, because when jump starting turns into a habit, complete battery failure is usually not far behind. Sign number 6. Battery warning light on the dashboard. A lot of drivers see this light and immediately think one thing: bad battery. But the truth is, it can also point to the charging system. That includes the alternator, wiring, and battery-related voltage problems. Still, if this light appears together with slow, cranking, dim lights, or weak electrical behavior, the battery becomes a strong suspect. This light means the power system is not working correctly. And that matters because a weak battery can sometimes hide behind symptoms that look like something else. So if this warning appears, especially with other signs on this list, do not ignore it. It is one of the clearest ways your car tells you the electrical system needs attention. Sign number 7. The car starts but then feels weak or suddenly loses power. This is usually a later stage symptom. At this point, the battery may still have just enough power to start the engine, but not enough to keep supporting the system properly. You may notice the car starting normally at first, then struggling, then losing electrical strength. Lights may dim. Systems may act strange. In some cases, the engine may even stall. This happens because the voltage drops too low once the system is under load. And once you reach this point, the battery is usually very close to complete failure. Now, here is something important. Not every weak battery problem is caused by the battery alone. Sometimes the alternator is not charging properly. Sometimes there is a parasitic drain. Sometimes the terminals are corroded or the battery cables are loose. That is why you should always look at the bigger picture. But if the signs you are seeing include slow cranking, clicking, dim lights, weak accessories, and repeated jump starts, then the battery becomes the most likely place to start. So what should you do first? Start simple. Check the battery terminals. Look for corrosion. Make sure the connections are tight. If the battery is old, keep that in mind too, because age matters. A battery may still work, but not work reliably, and if possible, have the battery tested properly, because catching a weak battery early is easy, but dealing with a dead one at the wrong place and the wrong time is not. So let's quickly recap. A weak battery may show signs like slow cranking, clicking sound, dim or unstable lights, electrical accessories acting strange, frequent jump starts, a battery warning light, and sudden power loss after starting. Some of these signs seem small, some feel easy to ignore, and some only show up occasionally at first, but together they tell a very clear story. The battery is losing strength. And if you wait too long, the next sign may simply be this: the car won't start at all, and now I want to hear from you. What was the first sign your battery gave you? Slow start, clicking sound, dim lights, dead overnight, or something unexpected? Comment below with the exact symptom you noticed first, and if enough people mention the same issue, I'll make the next video on that exact problem.